You have bought a car at auction, but you have buyer regret. You no longer want to buy that vehicle. What are your rights? Where do you stand? Can you just walk away from the deal? Well, it's a pretty crappy day outside, guys, so what a great day to do a YouTube video. Chucking down with rain, can't be going anywhere for a nice walk, so I'm going to be stuck indoors. I thought I'd pop out, get some breakfast and do another YouTube video for you. Hope you enjoy. Hopefully the answer to this question is a very, very simple one. You should have done all your research prior to even attending the auction, so you should have made a lot of decisions prior to even bidding on that car. You should not have placed a bid if you had no intention of completing on the purchase. And as a private buyer, if you go to auction, you will need to place a deposit on that car. And the reason for that is for this exact reason, to make sure you go through with the transaction. You must complete the deal. It is legally binding on you. You cannot just walk away. There are options if you have changed your mind, and I'll go through those throughout this video. So your options are simply these. The first option is to keep the car. Do the decent thing, complete on the deal. After all, you would have done your research, you would have been interested in that car, and of course you should then follow through and complete on that deal. Your next option, and this is purely down to the discretion of the auction house, is to put that car back into the auction and resell it that way. Now, you won't get your deposit back. You're going to have to wait for the car to go through. And the most important thing is you will be liable for any loss if that car sells for less. Now, most of the time, that car will now sell as a multi-vendor car, and it will raise flags with other buyers because other people will think, hang on, this has just been put back into auction. Is there something wrong with it that the previous purchaser found? And he's now shoving it back through auction to give someone else a headache with, and that is their concern, isn't it? So the car may sell for less, and you will be liable for the difference between what you paid and what it is resold for. So don't be too surprised if it comes out as a loss for you. It doesn't always happen. I have put cars back through and they've actually sold for more, but they will not give you the difference between if it sells for more and then what you sold it for. They will keep the difference. So it's a little bit mixed up, isn't it? You will cover any loss, but you won't make any profit on that car, which is a little bit strange, isn't it? I've seen that happen a few times, but normally that is the case if you haven't paid for that car. If you pay for the car in full, then you should keep the profit, because you're then just taking your chances, like arbitrage, isn't it? You're taking your chance to see whether you can make a profit on that car by flipping it back through auction, but you would need to pay for the car in full. So if you haven't paid for the car in full, then you will not make any profit on the car, because they will keep the difference. They've taken that decision for you to help you out, and it's purely and solely at the discretion of the auction manager. That's if you haven't paid for the car. Of course, if you paid for it in full, then you are literally selling that car again, but it will go through as a multi-vendor, and you are the one who will take that risk on whether you will absorb a loss. So another option is you could, if you paid your deposit on a credit card, simply do a chargeback and walk away. Now, that is possibly the worst decision you will ever make, because you've just made a legally binding contract with that auction house to pay for that car. And just because you think you're being clever by doing a chargeback and keeping quiet, they will come after you and take you for the full loss of that vehicle. And probably rightly so, because you're breaching a legally binding contract. You wanted to bid on that car. Now, do you think that is right, or do you think that is wrong? Do you think you should be given a cooling off period when bidding at auction? And remember, why do you think you should have a cooling off period? Because after all, you have made the decision, you've done all the pre-research to bid on that car. Why should you now be given a cooling off period? Say 300 cars have been through. If all 300 people had asked for a cooling off period, that's 300 cars now not sold that they have to do again. So Do you think you should get a calling off period? Tell me in the comment section below. I'm interested to hear your views. Have you bought a car from auction before and then had buy regret? Again, tell me in the comment section below, what was the outcome, what did you do, and what was the resolution that you came to? So, has it ever happened to me? And of course it has. I've been in the trade long enough for me to make my mistakes. And also, I employ quite a few people, so they make mistakes too. There's also a video on my YouTube channel called "Oh No, I Bought a Multi-Vendor Car." So whatever happened to that multi-vendor car that I bought, that nightmare I bought from BCA Leeds? It was one that I never bid on, and I did a video, this video, about that car, didn't I? And I never did the follow-up, and there's a reason behind that, because I've actually still got the thing, haven't I? And yes, that's exactly it. That was a mistake. We shouldn't have bought that car, should we? But we did. And unfortunately, we were stuck with it. That was bought from BCA Leeds, and they wouldn't let us put it back through. But fortunately, it was sub £1,000. So it didn't cost us a lot of money, but it was a mistake, and we still had to go and pick it up, and it was a shed. We still have it. We use it to do training on. So it's not the end of the world, and it didn't cost a lot of money. Now, one of the guys recently brought a 35 grand Range Rover. Now, that is a big mistake, isn't it? I mean, Jesus, £35,000. Fortunately, I spoke to the auction centre and we didn't have to pay for it, and they put it back through for us. So fair play to them. They put it back through. We watched it go through, and it made more money the second time. So we owed them nothing, but they didn't pay us the profit. But we didn't have to outlay the £35,000 on the car too. So it worked well for us. It saved us risking all that money, and it got us out of a headache that we didn't want. So it does, it happens, and it happens more times than you can imagine. And every now and again we get a customer who doesn't pay for their car, and we have to do the same. Now, when we lose money, we have to chase the customer for all that money. So it's not a great thing to have to do, because we don't want to do it. They don't want to do it. So if someone signs up to our service, we're quite clear with them that once they bid on a car, they are obliged to buy that car. In fact, they're legally obliged to pay for that car. It is their responsibility to not renege on the deal. And that's why we always have a contract when buying cars for customers on their behalf, especially when they cost a small fortune. So yes, it happens to us as well. And remember, guys, I have the Flipping Cars 100 Club. Go to flippingcars.co.uk/training if you're interested in getting into the car sales business. Now is the perfect time to start. Start buying some stock so you're ready to sell over the Christmas period. People are looking for cars for family members as a Christmas gift, and ready for January. Get yourself all set up, ready to rock and roll. Of course, there is a cost to the course. It is not a free course, so please don't go there and expect it to be free. And remember, there is also an ebook for those looking for a little bit of advice instead of all the support that comes with the Flipping Cars 100 Club. Please do subscribe and like the video. I'm going to make quite a lot of videos over the next few months. Definitely worth subscribing so you don't miss out. Thanks again for your support. Keep safe, keep well, and speak to you soon.